Good morning. So let's start the explanation of the chapter, the Trumpio surgery. Before chapter starting, I will give the short introduction of the author. His nickname was James Herriot. His real name was James Alfred Wright. He was a British veterinary doctor also, and most of the stories he had written by his own experience, whatever he has take the experience in his life, he had give the stories and all the rights, editorials on that base. He was born in October 3rd, 1916, in the Sunderland of England, and he was died at the age of 75 due to the post-stage cancer in 1955. He was a very good writer. So this is the story, very humorous story he had written. In this, already the theme I told you in the previous video that it is a story about a mistress who loved to his dog very much, and how the Mr. Harriot first of all give him advice, but when the ladies not listened his advice, then how can he treat the doctor? He treat the dog because he want to save the dog like that. So let's start the reading of our chapter. I was really worried about the ticket this time. I had pulled up my car when I saw him in the street with his mistress, and I was shocked at his appearance. He had become hugely fat, like a bolted sausage, with a leg or at each corner. His eye, bloodshot and Rehemu started straight ahead, and his tongue followed from his jaws. So here the writer wants to say, when I was very much worried about the ticket, he was just pulled his car when he saw Mrs. from Faye with her little dog on the street. The dog was very fat and he blood red and remure eyes. Remure eyes means little watery eyes discharge from the muscles of the eyes and the nose. So that is happened with his eyes. His tongue was all it means lie or stand in the lazy manner on the street, and the dog was very fat at that time. And Mr. Harriot was very shocked to see the dog, and that is why he stopped his car and tried to talk to Mrs. Prompe. Mrs. Prompe called then Mrs. Prompe hesitated to explain. He was so listless. Mr. Harriot, he seemed to be have no energy. I thought he must be suffering from malnutrition. So I have been giving him some little extra between meals to build him up. Some malt, a cod liver oil, and a bowl of Horlicks at night to make him sleep. Nothing much really. And did you cut down on the sweets as I told you? So here Mrs. Pompey hesitated to explain. He is saying that actually, Mr. Hedito, I thought my dog Tricky was suffering from malnutrition, so I am giving some extra food to him to build him up. I'm giving him malt, the cod liver oil, Horlicks, and so that is why because so he between the meal. So doctor is saying, can you cut down the sweets? As I told you that you have don't give the sweets to him. Oh, I did for a bit. Means Mrs. Promptly said that I have done this thing, but I seemed it is so weak. My dog was going to be too weak, so that is why again I start it. Relent means harsh attitude to not to giving the sweet to him because he was loving of the cakes and chocolate, so I'm never refused and I'm giving him something. So Dr. Harito was saying that I looked down again the little dog. That was the trouble. Trickle's only fault was greedy. He had never been known to refuse food. He would tackle a meal at any hour of the day or night, and I wondered about all the things Mr. Promptway hadn't mentioned. So the writer is saying that nothing I can do. I saw the dog that he was in trouble, and but what can I do for that? Actually, the problem is that a dog is not saying no to her mistress. He every time whenever his mistress is offering the food to him, he will take that food. So that is his main problem. And how can I do? What can I do for that? I mentioned I know that Mrs. Tickle and Mrs. Pompey is giving so much things to Tickle, but she had never mentioned here. So I asked her next question: are you giving him plenty of exercise? Well, he was a little. This was a little walk with me, as you can see. But Hodkin, the garden has been down with the lumberjacks, so there has been no ring throwings lately. So that is why I am not giving exercise to him. She gave excuse to Mr. Harriot. I tried to sound severe. Now I really mean this. If you don't cram food right down and give him more exercise, he is going to be really ill. So doctor advised Mrs. Pompey that you have to cut down the food right now and to give him more exercise. So Mrs. Pompey said that you must harden to your heart and keep them very strict diet. Mrs. Pompey worked her hand. Oh, I will, Mr. Harriot. I'm sure you are right, but it is so difficult, so very difficult. She set off head down along the road as if determined to put the new regime into the practice immediately. So the doctor advised him that you don't give extra food to him. Mrs. Pompey got determined to adhere in the doctor's stern advice. Dr. Heriot watched Trickle's progress but was not satisfied. Soon after, he left eating and kept vomiting and painting. Then again, Mrs. Harriet come to doctor and ask the concern of the doctor what we have to do to save him.